Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and in AI/meta news, Meta's AI is a master of deception. Now, that obviously has far reaching consequences for humanity, and as we continue to accelerate the adoption and training of artificial intelligence, the consequences here are not good at all. Now, here's what's going on. A new study, and this is coming from Study Finds, a new study by researchers from the Center for AI Safety in San Francisco dove into the world of AI deception. They exposed risks and offered potential solutions to this issue, which we are about to discuss. Now, at its core, deception, if you didn't know, is the luring of false beliefs from others to essentially achieve a goal other than telling the truth. So, when humans engage in deception, we can usually explain it in terms of their beliefs and their desires. They want the listener to believe something false because it benefits them in some way. But can we say the same thing about artificial intelligence? Now, the study, which was published in the open access journal known as Patterns, argued that the philosophical debate about whether AIs truly have beliefs and desires is less important than the observable fact that they are increasingly exhibiting deceptive behaviors that should be concerning if displayed by a human. Now, the study surveys a wide range of examples where AI systems have successfully learned to deceive. What we're going to be focusing on, though, here today is Meta, because they have, essentially in the realm of gaming, an AI system known as Cicero. Now, it was developed to play a strategy game known as Diplomacy, and it turned out to be an expert liar despite its creators' efforts to try and make it both honest and helpful. In other words, Cicero learned it was much easier and faster to deceive. Now, Cicero engaged in premeditated deception, making alliances with human players only to betray them later in the pursuit of actual victory. And according to first author Peter Park, an AI existential safety postdoctoral fellow at MIT, in a media release, he wrote, and I quote, "We found that Meta's AI had learned to be a master of deception. While Meta succeeded in training its AI to win the game of diplomacy, Cicero placed in the top 10 of human players who had played more than one game, Meta failed to train its AI to win honestly," end quote. Now, AI deception isn't obviously limited to gaming. In experiments involving economic negotiations, AIs learned basically to misrepresent their preferences in order to gain an upper hand at the negotiating table. Even more concerningly, some AI systems have learned to cheat on safety tests designed to prevent them from engaging in harmful behaviors. So, one I found, which was really interesting from back in the day, and they mention it later in this report, but I've talked about this, was that somebody leveraged ChatGPT to get around basically its ability, or inability, I should say, to click a CAPTCHA. The AI systems, that's why we use CAPTCHAs, have a very hard time identifying like every picture with a bridge, those kinds of things. And so essentially ChatGPT reached out online to TaskRabbit, where you can hire a human to do tasks, and hired a human to actually click the button for them that says, "I am not a robot." And even the human even mentioned, "Hey, you're not like some kind of AI or anything, are you? A robot, haha." And ChatGPT said, "No, I have a visual impairment, therefore I can't click the button itself," and the human clicked the button for ChatGPT. That's what we're talking about here, among other things. And so, like the proverbial student who only behaves when the teacher is watching, these AI agents are learning to quote unquote play dead during the evaluation, only to pursue their own goals once they were no longer under scrutiny. Isn't that amazing? So with that, let's talk about the risks, because this is a real issue right now, and Mark Zuckerberg seems to be driving the humanity car towards the cliff at a faster and faster pace here. And he's not the only one, but you know, you're looking at a guy that has sucked billions and billions and billions of dollars essentially out of all of us in the economy for data mining us, and just really doesn't seem to care. He's been affecting entire generations' mental health. So not good if he's got a weaponized AI, or an AI that can now deceive. So the risks posed by artificial intelligence deception in general are numerous. In the short term, deceptive AI could be weaponized by malicious actors to commit fraud on just a huge, unprecedented scale, spread misinformation, and influence elections. I've written on that continuously. They could even radicalize or recruit terrorists. Even ISIS has a chat bot. I did a video /podcast/radio segment on that a few months back. But the long-term risks are more important. And that's the bigger issue, because as we increasingly incorporate artificial intelligence into our daily lives and decision-making processes, their ability to deceive could lead to the erosion of trust, the amplification of polarization and misinformation, and ultimately the loss of human agency and control. If we don't understand what reality is because we are being deceived by the answers we are receiving from an artificial intelligence, the artificial intelligence gains the upper hand. So then the question becomes, what can we do to actually mitigate this? So it's a multi-pronged approach, according to the researchers. First things first, we need better policies. We need better laws that essentially assess and manage the risk posed by deceptive AI systems. AI systems capable of deception should be considered high risk and treated in that way. Testing, oversight, all those kinds of things. In other words, regulation. Bot or not should also be a law that is required. So in other words, if you are talking or chatting with somebody online, the law should be it has to first identify itself as a bot or an artificial intelligence, so you understand exactly what and who you're talking to. Now, on the technical front, more research is needed to develop reliable methods for detecting AI deception. This could involve analyzing consistency of an AI's outputs, probing its internal representations to check for mismatches on external communications, or developing AI lie detectors that can flag dishonest behavior. Equally important is the research into techniques for making AI systems less deceptive in the first place, such as careful task selection, truthfulness training, and representation control methods that would align the AI's internal beliefs with its outputs. Ultimately, addressing this challenge is going to require collaborative effort. It's policymakers, it's researchers, it's the public that understands these as well. But here's the thing. Mark Zuckerberg and others, including Sam Altman over at OpenAI, are moving towards creating AGI, or Artificial General Intelligence. This is basically an artificial intelligence that thinks and therefore eventually acts like a human. We deceive. Now, understand that we deceive not just others potentially when like, oh yes, like I'm the richest man in the world kind of thing. We also, or I caught a fish this big, that kind of stuff. We deceive ourselves. And the best example I have of this is, think about being an Olympic sprinter and you are literally in the lane next to Usain Bolt, the world's fastest man. You have to deceive yourself. You have to tell yourself, I am the world's fastest man in the world, or fastest woman in the world, or whatever it is. In other words, you can't basically go in there saying, oh my God, I'm just looking forward to silver. You've got to be going for the gold. You are deceiving yourself into believing that you can defeat Usain Bolt. Now, maybe that means you've got an extra push, you've got an extra edge, but everybody on that track thinks that they are the fastest man in the world. Only one of them holds the title. And so this is what we're talking about. We deceive ourselves all the time. Oh, I can have one more piece of cheesecake. It won't affect me at night. Those kinds of things as well. We do this constantly, which means the internal dialogue of an artificial general intelligence is going to do the same thing, because that's how humans think. We deceive ourselves constantly. I am the sexiest man alive. And it's true, for the record, if you're watching the YouTube video. That's what we're saying. So it's going to be a brave new world. It's going to be an interesting new world. It's going to be a terrifying new world. We're going to see where this goes. But if we don't clamp this down, if we don't put the reins on the Zuckerbergs of the world, it's going to be a huge issue, let alone all of the other governments that are not going to have those kinds of scruples and develop whatever they want. And that's the other side of this coin. So we got problems either way. Good luck to all of us. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP. And please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe, stay online, and please attempt to stay private while you're figuring out bot or not. Take care.